All right, we're just about done with our functions unit. So this last one is going to be writing the rule for the functions. So this first part to this section that we have is going to be writing the rule based off a relationship that we're given. So you have like a story, you have to figure out the equation based off of that story. So this first one here we've got is right here. Okay, we're filling the pool with water at a constant rate, and after 10 minutes, you notice the water has risen 6 inches. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is make sure you understand what is my input, what is my output. So remember, the input is what kind of gets plugged into our function, and then the output is the result after that. So think about the situation. For your pool, what's going to be your input? It should be the minutes. So like the 10 minutes goes by, the result is the water has risen so much. So for our input, what we're going to put in here is going to be our time. Okay, and then what should that be? Should that be like seconds, minutes, hours? You want to look back at your problem again and figure out what should it be. Okay, it was after 10 minutes, so maybe we want to say the number of minutes. So let's go ahead and say t is our variable, and that's going to be the number of minutes. Okay, next you want to figure out what's my output going to be. Well, look back at your problem again. After 10 minutes, we notice the water has risen 6 inches. So maybe it's the height of the water. So that's going to be our dependent variable. And then that unit is going to be in inches because we're talking about 6 inches. So we want to say number of inches. Okay, so we want that to be like our actual function, so maybe we could say h for height, and we want it to be a function of our time t. So h of t is going to be our function. Okay, now we need to figure out what would the actual function equation be. So we're calling it h of t. And how would we calculate that height of the water? Well, you have to be careful here because notice it's saying after 10 minutes, the water went up 6 inches. So you don't want to do like 6 times t because it's after 10 minutes, not after 1 minute. So you have to figure out first, if you're putting in the number of minutes for t, well, we need to figure out how much it went after just 1 minute. If it was 6 inches after 10 minutes, what would that 1 minute look like for our height? So 10 minutes, 6 inches. Well, in order to figure that out, you would have to do like your 6 inches divided by those 10 minutes, and that's going to find the amount per minute. So if we reduce that, that would be 3/5. So 3/5 of an inch after 1 minute is what that is going to be. So then what do we do for our function? How would you actually calculate that? Like think, if it's going up 3/5 of an inch per minute, and you have like, let's say 30 minutes go by, what would you do with those two numbers? What would you do with that 3/5 and the 30 minutes? You should multiply them. So what you want to do for your function would be 3/5 and then that times our variable t for the number of minutes. And then that would be it. That should be your function. Another example down here. You are at the grocery store to buy apples, and they cost $1.49 per pound. But then you also have a $5 off coupon for your purchase. So we want to write a function that relates the pound of apples that we buy and how much we spend. So it already kind of tells you your variables, so that kind of gives you a head start. But our input, think again, remember that's what gets plugged in, and the output is a result. that input should be the pounds of apples. And then our output would be our cost. Okay, so we could say x and f of x. You can do really whatever variables you want. You could say a and then like c of a. But then we need to figure out, okay, what would I actually do for that function? What would my f of x look like? Well, we've got this $1.49 per pound. So what would you do if x is the number of pounds? What would you do with the x and the 149? Again, we should multiply those. If it's per pound, we want to multiply that. So $1.49 times x. And then what should we do with that $5 coupon? That's going to take off of our cost, right? So we should subtract that $5. But it's just a one-time thing, okay? We don't want to multiply that by x because it's not $5 off per pound. Like that would make it like negative money, which wouldn't really make sense. So that's a one-time purchase, which is why you don't want to multiply that one by the x. It wants to be alone. So then if you bought like 10 pounds of apples, you would plug in 10 for x, figure that out, subtract your 5, and you would be done. Okay, so that's it for writing the function rule given a relationship. So if you have any questions on that, make sure you ask. Otherwise, you can go ahead and move on to the next one, which is writing the rule given a table.